Drake has been buying his way into hip hop and the culture for so long that when we truly peel back the curtain and take a look at him, the crown that he's even asking and telling these rappers to bow down to doesn't even belong to him. It belongs to a deceased rapper where he went and purchased their ring and crown for $1 million from Sotheby's.
I'm wearing Pac's ring.
This says everything about Drake and how he does not have access to this culture that he wants to be a part of and has been leveraging and using his money and his visibility to obtain friends. And I think that we're seeing folks finally say, we good, bruh. Let's talk about it.
Y'all already know what time it is. I got the black V-neck on.
Woo! When you talk about a diss record, drop a diss record, a rollout, the way Kendrick Lamar did this, let me tell y'all something. This was so good that this made me want to go and study hip hop. Like, is this what y'all doing? Now, I'm still gonna be honest, like men, as much as y'all be getting on women about like cattiness and all this other stuff and mess and gossip, this is what this is. Y'all wanna call it sports, but all of this is mess and I'm here for it. So let's talk about it. A rollout. Kendrick, make no mistake, dropping Euphoria. There was no questions about it being AI, no questions about it being a leak. It was dropped because Kendrick Lamar knew and he was confident in his work. He was confident. That is something that Drake does not have. And Kendrick Lamar is proving everything that folks have been saying about Drake. And Drake is just spiraling. Like, you see it. The way Drake released push-ups was so tacky, and it just did not give that this is somebody who's confident in the work they're putting out. And it doesn't show that you are the king or you are the top rapper. It's giving quantity, not quality. Shout out to Jocelyn Hernandez, the Puerto Rican princess. The way that push-ups came out, we couldn't tell if it was AI, if it was real, because it was leaked. There was a conversation about, is this a leak? What's going on? We couldn't tell. Like, Drake didn't get online and drop it and say, here, check it out, because he wasn't confident. Now, there's been conversation about Drake, you know, leaking stuff. People do that who are trying to get a kind of ear of what the streets is saying if they like it, so they can, you know, oh, this wasn't official, this was the EP. No, this was the diss. And there was, you know, a couple of versions of it. It was received well. People enjoyed it. Folks was riding it. People were riding it. And folks thought that Kendrick Lamar was backed up in the corner. They said, oh, Kendrick is gone. Like, Drake is annihilating him. I ain't gonna hold y'all. The song really didn't do nothing for me too much. It just sounded like something Drake would do. It just sounded like him just talking mess over a beat. There was nothing special about it. There was nothing unique about it. It was just him talking mess. There was a couple of like zingers and stuff in there, but it didn't give me confidence of a man who is 37 years old, who is solid in his career, who knows what it is. It just gave, I make more money than you and I'm more successful than all of y'all, And Drake, let's be honest, we can talk about success. We can have a conversation about why you are successful. You are a palatable black, period, from Canada that, you know, cosplay as whatever you need to be successful. There's a running joke about you having different accents, you stealing different type of flows and styles and stuff to, you know, appease to whatever audience you want at that time. That's a running joke about you. People do not respect you like that. The culture does not respect you. And I feel like the culture has said a word with this. The culture has been saying it for the longest. I mean, you even have a clip of DMX saying that, you know, he don't like Drake.
What about Drake? You like Drake?
No.
My man.
He didn't even say a little bit. Okay. Now, why don't you like Drake?
I don't like anything about Drake.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like his voice. I don't like what he talks about. I
be trying to tell these people.
I don't like the way he walks, like nothing. I don't like his haircut.
Like, Drake has used and leveraged his visibility and his money to obtain friends and these folks. That's why he had to buy Tupac's ring. I didn't know anything about this. Shout out to the folks who were putting it out. He bought Tupac's ring last year for $1 million. And to me, that is telling that you went and bought a deceased man's, like a rapper's ring with a crown. Like, it's just
live at Starless, you know what I'm saying? Side talk though, you know what time it is, man. We're in here, man. I'm wearing Pac's ring.
This is some white boy. I'm just gonna be completely honest. Like, if folks were calling me a white boy, I don't know if I would be like, you do move like that. Like, I just don't see anybody else. The only person I see close to doing something like this is maybe Meek Mill. But this is not something you do. Like, this is how you buy your way into things. Like, Drake literally is homeboy from Little Rascals who was like, darn it, y'all got me.
You'll be hearing from my lawyers.
He is, I am rich, I have money, da 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 da. And this does not work in this. I feel like this is really showing that Drake does not have access to the culture. He does not have the respect of the folks. The only reason why folks have respected him because he is, you know, a successful artist. And I don't feel like success necessarily tells you everything, because who is consuming the artistry? You got a whole bunch of, like, you know, non-black folks listening to your music. Of course, all the rappers have a bunch of non-black folks listening to their music and saying the N-word and all that other stuff. But Drake has a specific type of audience that even when they are trying to dissect what Drake is saying and dissect Kendrick Lamar stuff, they're getting the things wrong. Like, they just do not know because they don't have access to the culture. Now, let's get into it and let's talk about some of the things that was said.
Euphoria.
First and foremost, let's start off with the title of the diss. The title of the diss is Euphoria, and Kendrick has the definition of Euphoria as the diss cover. Now, the funny and shady part about this and how it works is that Drake is the executive producer on the show Euphoria. And this show has been heavily critiqued for having a lot of episodes and scenes where the teenagers who are in high school, played by adult actors, are in some, you know, very, you know, those type of scenes. And the show has been critiqued about that. And folks have called the executive producer and the creator, Sam Levinson, out for some of the creepiest scenes. So I find this very calculated. Shout out to Dissect Podcast, who were able to tell that the beginning part is a line from The Wiz.
Everything they say about me is true. I'm a phony.
This was on some new, it gave me Missy Elliott, like that's the only, like I was like, wow, because it sounded catchy, it sounded good, and come to find out it's The Wiz, the person who is supposed to be the grand and magic wizard that's supposed to be all powerful and all these things, and then you peek behind the curtain.
Everything they say about me is true. I'm a phony.
Then you get Kendrick Lamar coming in on Teddy Pendergrass' song, You're My Latest, You're My Greatest Inspiration. And we get this tone that we're used to with Kendrick Lamar, this flow. I liked it. I thought it was good. I was like, oh, this is some, I'm feeling it.
Them superpowers get neutralized, I can only watch in silence.
He's saying them superpowers get neutralized, I can only watch in silence. The famous actor we once knew is paranoid and spiraling. Like,
I forgot the shit that they done. Dementia must run in his family, but let it get shaky. I park his son.
Kendrick Lamar is taking shots at Drake, saying Drake is trying to be like his dad, calling him a junior. He said that y'all must have forgot the shit that they done, and mentions that he about to park his son, and makes a comment about dementia. Like, it's just like, he said dementia must run in the family. I'm just, oh my God. Then he goes on to make a comment about the first time he, you know, took a shot at Drake, he did not aim low enough. And, you know, this time he gonna make sure he do it right.
First time I shot me a Drake, the homie had told me to aim it this way. I didn't point down enough. Today I show you I learned from those mistakes.
The way they work, oh my God, like it's in different areas, y'all. Like it's in different areas. Like, he goes on to talk about the ring situation where Drake bought Tupac's ring back in 2023. And this is also a comment on the Tailor Made song that Drake did where he had Tupac's AI voice on there. and he had Snoop Dogg's AI voice on there. Like, girl, the way that Tupac's estate responded to Drake and said, girl, if you don't take that shit down, we gonna sue you. And the song is nowhere to be found on the streaming services. You had to go resurrect a dead man by using a computer built by white folks to reenact a black man. Like, there's just something very disgusting about that. Like, that's something about that. It's just not giving. But that works for his white fans. Like, that works for his white fans. First of all, let's be honest. Tupac would not be on Drake's side. Like, Tupac would not be on Drake's side at all. Like, Drake would be lower than Biggie to him. Drake, you don't get that type of respect. If it's anything, they tolerate you. And I think Drake knows that he is tolerated. So Kendrick takes another dig at Drake in one of the verses where he mentions, have you ever paid $500-something thousand towards an open case?
Have you ever paid $500,000 like to an open case?
And come to find out, Drake settled with a woman back in 2018 who accused him of assault. And while looking this up, because I actually forgot about it, this is on independent.co.uk. They said Drake reportedly paid $350,000 to a woman who accused him of assault in 2017 during the British leg of his Boy Meets World tour. Now, I remember this story, but I honestly forgot about it. And Kendrick brought it up. Now, the way Kendrick is moving in this song, it is totally different from just like digs and all that other stuff. It doesn't sound like Kendrick is just reading blog posts. It's not seeming as if Kendrick is just reading tea and da-da-da. It is the wordplay. Like, it comes off less messy as possible. It's still messy, it's still gossipy, but it's in a way that makes it more on the wordplay. And I think that's the difference between Kendrick and Drake, because Drake, it didn't hit like that. And some folks saying that Drake's song, Push Ups, has replay value, you can listen to it, whatever. I ain't interested in beats. I'm not in the studio with Nene and Candy. I want to hear some real stuff. Like, I want to hear it. Like, this is supposed to be something like battle rap. And I want to hear it. So I'm not going to cover all of the verses where he was taking digs. Like, girl, that somebody else can do that. But what I want to talk about is the critique on Drake's Blackness. Like, I found that very interesting, the way Kendrick was talking about Drake's Blackness. And it's a running joke, like folks have been saying it. Rick Ross was taking shots at him about it and saying things, calling him white boy and stuff. But the way Kendrick does it in this song, it's not because he's light-skinned. Because I'm seeing people on social media saying this is lame. He's talking about he not black because he light-skinned and da-da-da-da. No. Kendrick is not doing that. Like, Kendrick is not saying light skin. He's not even doing any of that. He's talking about Drake's actions, his behavior. Like, the things that Kendrick is talking about is some white boy type of stuff. And that is hilarious to me, because I don't even have to, like, low-hanging fruit, oh, you mixed, da-da-da. That's not what Kendrick is saying. Kendrick is not calling Drake white because his mother is white. He's not calling him white because he is light-skinned. He's calling him white because of his actions. Apparently, Drake sent a cease and desist to the producers over at Like That. He did not like the Like That record, and he was not a fan of it. And this is the second time that Drake has gotten into some legal situation because of something he did not like with a rapper or something. So early this month, Rick Ross had made a claim and said that Drake sent a cease and desist to French Montana, and that's one of the reasons why he said he don't mess with him. It's that and so many other things that Drake has done. Even him messaging his mama and calling Rick Ross a racist and all the other stuff. The way he moves, like, we know Drake, the light that he's talking about and the stuff he be talking about, that's not Drake. That's not Drake. Like, I'm screaming at Kendrick saying, we don't want to hear you say the N-word no more. We don't want to hear you say no more. And I know this is getting to Drake. We know it's getting to Drake. Like, it's no shade. It's getting to some of the biracials online right now. Like, they are upset about it. Some of them upset. Some of them like, girl, it's funny to me, da-da-da. Let me tell you something. I did not watch The Wiz growing up. There's a lot of stuff that's quote unquote black that I did not probably do, but ain't nobody questioning my black. I am not pressed about somebody questioning my blackness. I don't know how to play spades. It's all types of stuff like, but let me tell you something. One thing about it, girl, I have access to the culture. Like, I have access to the culture. And this is something that they're saying Drake, like Drake wants to rap and be these things like these other like rappers, and it's just like you don't let us, like even somebody like Rick Ross, Officer Ricky, even folks making comments about Rick Ross being a parole officer in the day, whatever, Officer Ricky and all that stuff, it still doesn't hit because Rick Ross still was in that lifestyle. He still has access to it. Like he grew up in these, you know, parts of, you know, the country. Like wherever he grew up at, he has access to that. Drake does not. He is a Canadian rapper that is talking about like stuff like he grew up in New York or maybe somewhere in the South or somewhere in California. Even someone like a 21 Savage who, you know, originally is born somewhere in the UK and he lived in Atlanta for most of his life, has more access than the Drake does. Now, I ain't gonna hold y'all, I do love when the women, specifically black, dark-skinned women, are saying, oh, so now y'all been out here calling Drake, you know, white boy and all that other stuff. What are y'all saying about the white women who y'all laying up with? Because if y'all sitting here saying Drake is white, you know, what's going on? And that's something I've been saying. For y'all to be dragging Drake and all that, but I don't think that's the only thing that Kendrick Lamar is saying. I think it is some hints towards it, but y'all will say that and then y'all will be dating women who have no access to the culture and stuff the same way Drake doesn't. So it's just like, which one is it? Like, what is going on? Like, I don't have nothing against folks who are like calling it out. Like, I love it because it is a critique. There is an interview that Brian B. Miller posted on Twitter where Drake is talking about his blackness. And in this interview, I'm gonna let y'all listen to it.
But that line is just me speaking to the other side of things, which is like, yo, sometimes like, you know, some of like my blackest friends can be just as cruel on the other end. When Drake is the artist of the decade, I don't think anybody says, wow, a black artist is the artist of the decade. I don't think anybody says that, really. I never heard anybody say that in the last few weeks.
The question that I have is, when Drake is saying the blackest of friends, what do you mean by that?
What do you mean by that?
The blackest of friends, what are you talking about? Like, what do you mean the blackest of friends? Meaning the darkest ones? Like, what's going on? You know, like I said, like, I don't have any issue with Drake doing his interview and being honest about his feelings and everything that he has going on, or like how he's moving in space and stuff. I like when artists do stuff like this. But it's funny because you would not think that this is somebody who is as successful as a Drake is. Like, this gets to him. And I don't think Kendrick or any of these other rappers needed to see this interview to know that Drake feels like that. I don't think any of them needed to see that. So going back to Drake dropping Tailor Made, Drake did that to kind of muddy the waters and kind of like, I'm gonna spray myself with my own tea before y'all do it to me. And it doesn't work in this instant because Drake is saying, oh, y'all gonna talk about me liking young girls. He chose the word young girls. Young word, like, let me tell you, some folks who are wordplay folks, they gonna choose the right words. They're not saying just young girls, child. Like, they ain't saying yo young. You ain't gonna say the other stuff. Even when you are using AI to resurrect Tupac to take a shot at you or whatever, or to this is what they gonna say about me. You use the word young girls. Like, you didn't go further than that. Like, folks are saying underage. Like, some folks are saying underage, like the girl that you was dancing with on the stage, talking about why she looked like that. You can spray yourself with your own tea. You can say, hey, I, was, dealing with this and I was battling addiction, or like this person did me wrong in a relationship, or even something I experienced, like homelessness. You can say things like that and like spray yourself with your own tea, whatever. But something like this, like young girls, like that ain't nothing that doesn't work. that don't work. Like, that doesn't even work. And I feel like Drake went ahead and put that out to kind of tone it down a little bit, because he knows that is the biggest insecurity for him. That is the biggest insecurity that he has, besides like not being fully black. And that is something like, girl, like, you are a 40-year-old man, almost 40-year-old man, and some of the stuff that you do, it is questionable. Like, some of the ways you move, and like you can't keep a girl. You've never been in a steady relationship. Like, what's going on? Like, you are successful, you all of these things, you supposed to be Mr. Goody Two Shoes, supposed to be the lover, the boy lover, all this. Why can't you keep a woman? And the only woman that you've been able to keep or whatever, have a child with, is one that you probably paid for some services. And it's nothing wrong with that, period. I don't have any problem with folks who pay workers. Actually tip your workers, period. If they do their job, tip them. But Drake is insecure about this stuff. Like, even the situation with his son, like, Kendrick took a shot at that and said, girl, like, you the one that want to be famous. I got other stuff to do. I'm out here raising a family. Like, I'm out here raising my kids. I'm raising a son, something you don't know nothing about. Wow, because, you know, we see Drake's son every once in a while. He's been trying to post pictures of him and all that other stuff. Baby, let me tell you something. Is it the braids? Let me tell you, I holler. Because between Drake braids and his son braids, I know they scalp is through. I know they scalp is tied. Like, girl, y'all try to be black so bad. Like, the braids is just not working. Like, y'all don't have the scalp for it. It's who is braiding these folks' hair? Like, Drake is doing everything that black folks who have access to the culture were doing in their early teens and growing up. Like the barrettes. That's why Drake is doing that now. Like, I think Drake tries to frame it as like being artistic and all this other stuff. And it's just like, no, girl, you are growing up as black now. Like, you are now in the quote unquote culture. You didn't get a chance to experience any of this in the beginning because this was not your life. Like, you was raised by your white mama. You was raised by your white mama. Like, you were not doing any of these things. Like, you was not out here, you was doing other stuff. I really, really enjoyed everything about this. Like, this ate down for me. Kendrick ate it. I think you are a fool to say that Kendrick Lamar did not deliver. Like, you would be a fool to say that Kendrick Lamar did not win this round. He did. And I think as calculated as Drake wants to be, with, you know, releasing Taylor Made, said tick tick, what's going on, where the songs at, where the stuff at, and, you know, how he released to the AI stuff, like to even, you know, leak versus dropping, and how he has tried to put Kendrick Lamar in a corner, and all the things. Like, Drake is doing all the talking, and the loudest person isn't always the person who is winning the battle. I'll give you case in point. Nene versus Claudia. The way Nene ate Claudia up, like, Claudia was coming with all of the things, all the stuff that folks have said about Nene Leakes. But Nene's delivery, like, they make it when you got the coins. Spaghetti straps. Like, stuff that is just like basic, but it's the delivery. Kendrick's delivery. Not liking stuff on Twitter, not posting subliminals, not posting on Instagram. Just, hey, here go the track. Y'all tell me what y'all think. That's some grown man shit. I feel like Drake should have done that. I feel like Drake should have just said, here you go. And he could have showed us that, like, I'm a mature man. Like, this is about, like, you want me to do that? I can do that too. But Drake didn't. Let me tell you something. Some of these white YouTubers who, y'all are historians of rap. I enjoy y'all being historians and understanding the history and past interviews. But some of y'all white folks, y'all a little bit too deep in this and trying to give commentary, and y'all don't understand. Like, I was watching some of y'all, and girl, like, the video is good, but y'all don't understand the culture. Y'all did not grow up in this stuff, so y'all be getting stuff wrong, like, a lot. So I think some of y'all should just stick to just giving commentary on the podcast and interviews and stuff, because y'all don't understand rap like that. It's too many white folks in the culture right now, and it's becoming annoying, and I think some of them really think that they are true, like, oh, you're not. You're not. And that's okay, colonizer. That's all I got. Tell me what y'all thought about my video. Let me know in the comments. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.